Hello and welcome back to Game Vitamins. My name is Nick, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing my first 24 hours in the TCG Direct program. We'll take a look at how it works, what the fee comparison is between Marketplace and Direct. We'll look at what I've been doing in terms of sales, how quickly things have sold, my general first impressions, and pretty much any information I can give to you as someone who's only been in the program for a couple days now. I'm going to talk about my first 24 hours specifically, but any of the information I've gathered thus far, we're going to go over in this video, so it should be a very interesting one, especially if you're new to this channel. We go over building a TCG-based business, my focus being Magic the Gathering, from the ground up. And I started from scratch, and here we are selling on Direct and getting the equivalent in sales that I got over like the course of a month in one day. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. I've got my notebook out, I've got my laptop out, got a couple cards sitting here that need to go up on Direct, got to replenish quick because things move fast, and I'm going to bring you down to the laptop in a little bit on this video, especially for that fee analysis because I think it's pretty darn interesting. So let's get right into it and start by talking about how TCGPlayer Direct works. I won't go on about this for too long. I know I always say that and then I ramble, but I really won't because there's a lot of information through TCGPlayer right on their website. I'll throw some links down in the description below. But essentially, once you are beyond a level 4 seller and you are getting about $600 a week in sales, you have a certain threshold of sales made. I honestly forget what that number is already, but you can apply for TCGPlayer Direct. Now, there's a lot of mixed up information on it in general in terms of is it worth it? Are they taking too high of a percentage? So the aim of this video is to show how I looked at it when I went to apply and go join the program, and why I think it's worth it given my current situation. So what you're able to do is sign up with Direct. When people go and buy cards, TCGPlayer will ship them all out in one nice clean package to that buyer, and then you are given a reimbursement invoice, which means that you get a sheet of paper of everything that was ordered via your store, thrown into people's orders and sent out on your behalf, and you pack them all together. Let's say all of these cards were individual ones that were bought through your TCGPlayer store. Pack them up, send them to TCGPlayer instead of the individual buyers, and boom, there you go. You have reimbursed TCGPlayer for the cards that they shipped out on your behalf, and you don't need to go out and individually pack hundreds and hundreds of orders. So if you haven't seen it already, I've talked about my videos on packing individual cards, shipping them out, level 4 seller, my margins. This is totally changing the picture, and it's going to take some time to really analyze it to show how the profit and how the numbers will look. So stick with me. It's going to take quite some time. I'll probably do a lot of videos on Direct because this is a whole new battlefield. We're tackling it together, and as I've always said from my very first video, I hope I can act as that growing guinea pig for you to learn a little bit more and avoid any of the mistakes I make. Now, that's how Direct works. So enough of that. Again, if you want to learn more, read through their website. We'll discuss mostly the fee structures. But when I joined or went to be approved, they always give the warning, watch out, your sale volume is going to increase. It'll probably come kind of quickly, so get ready for that. And I did not expect the amount of sales I got within the first 24 hours. I'm going to share a little bit of information on that because you could probably prepare for it a bit better than I did. But anyway, I turned it on at 7 p.m. one night, a few days ago. I waited a few days because I wanted to make sure everything was organized. You want to make sure your inventory is organized before this, because if you have a lot of inventory on your website or on TCGPlayer, you're gonna have to be pulling cards, and you're gonna have to know where they are. So 24 hours, 120 sales, totaling $520 in 24 hours. So yeah, you can see how that really adds up quick. It totaled 167 individual cards in 24 hours sold. So first impressions, that's pretty solid. That is a good amount of sales, but boy, oh boy, did it drain my higher level inventory. The nicer cards, the sought after stuff, and considering how quick things were flying off the shelf, even at an inflated price, I had to keep adjusting. So let's first talk about pricing, because when you go on TCGPlayer Direct, you notice that there's always some level of inflation over the standard market price. And that's pretty obvious as to why. You're getting free shipping when you're buying through them. You're buying all of your cards. They're all coming in one package, and you're going to pay for that convenience. So naturally, you're not going to be selling cards for what TCG Market is listing them at. It's going to actually be a higher price point, which helps offset the fees, but we will get to that. So right off the bat, I downloaded my pricing sheet and I matched it up to TCG Direct prices, trying to get that inflated value. Quickly, I realized not everything has that value, so I accidentally sold some cards for very cheap that I shouldn't have. Make sure that when you're doing your pricing, before you actually start Direct, you go through your whole entire inventory and have very solid formulas laid out in order to apply pricing to everything. So in short, what I did is I took a look at the pricing sheet. I removed any items from that sheet that didn't have direct prices listed, and then compared the market prices to the direct prices. On average, this came out to be 25.7% higher on direct than on marketplace. So I didn't do this right off the bat. I probably should have. I probably missed a little bit of money there, but it was only 24 hours. It was only the first day. We've already adjusted since. And again, I'll get into where I'm at now in just a little bit. But you already have this extra pricing added in. So first impressions, again, that's what we're talking about here. You're getting paid more. You're mailing out less packages. First glance, I like it. You know, it saves time in terms of packing individual orders. But as people commented in my previous video about going into Direct, it's going to hurt your margins. So this is where you start comparing time spent and higher margins to higher volume, lower margins, easier fulfillment. So we're rolling right through this whole process. So that it's constantly changing my attitude towards what's best, what makes the most sense. And again, just don't hold me to all of this, because realistically, my opinion on Direct could be different in a week. 24 hours, first impressions. So when I got all of these orders, I was a little bit nervous about the first reimbursement invoice. So I explained what they are. They send those to you so you can mail back cards on there for them, because they mail them out on your behalf. So when you are pulling them and when you're getting those orders, wait, what was I going to say? Wow, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yes. Okay. I was going to say that when you get these reimbursement invoices, they do it on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, and they do it at every $300 worth of cards sold, or every 2 weeks, whichever comes faster. So I broke that $300 mark in less than 24 hours. So I was expecting that RI to come in pretty fast, and they want you to ship them out within 24 hours of getting the RI. So I hunkered down. I saw it came in at 7 a.m. So 7 p.m. to 7 p.m. is the 24 hours I'm talking about. The following 7 a.m., I saw the RI come through, 167 items, came right into here, and started pulling cards. And I wanted to time myself to see what the comparison is in terms of how much we're going to be making, the amount of sales, the amount of cards moving for the amount of time put in. Because everyone always asks how much time I'm spending. I don't know. I don't track every single hour. Up to this point, again, you're building something in the beginning. You have to put in extra hours that are probably not going to see the return to get to the point where you're putting in less hours for higher returns. So again, if you don't understand that, it's probably not the business to be in. But anyway, came up here, 167 cards. Luckily, I have my inventory organized very well. Sorry, I keep using this as a little pointer. When something's in front of me, I just like playing with it. So went over there, popped in some headphones, and I started pulling cards. 167 cards. Again, notebook. Let's review. 167 items, 45 minutes to pull all of those cards, pack them up into team bags, pop them into some padded envelopes that I was then going to throw in a box and ship out to TCGPlayer. So 45 minutes for $520 in sales, and otherwise they just flow in. I didn't need to do individual ones. I didn't need to print out a ton of labels. Didn't need to sleeve individual cards. They don't want you to sleeve cards unless they're over $25. So 45 minutes. That's pretty solid. Now, the next thing we should probably talk about are the fee structures, because this is very different than normal marketplace, and it will change your numbers. And I don't even know how it has fully changed my numbers. That is how new we are to this. But I was trying to do as much analysis as I could so I could share information with you on different fees based on different card prices. And I'll talk a little bit about their fees, how it works, and again, what my thoughts are. So let's pull you down to the computer. I'll shrink myself up, throw myself in the corner as usual, and let's dive into the numbers. Okay, here we are. We are looking at the value of the cards, the shipping fees, and the breakdown across direct, average direct markup, and the markup that I currently work with. So a lot of numbers here right off the bat, but what we're doing is taking a look at the value of the cards, combining in your shipping fee, getting your total price per card sold, and breaking down every fee associated with it to get an idea of how it compares from market to direct. So up here, we have marketplace. And essentially, we're treating this as if it's one card, because one thing I noticed on direct is out of those 120 orders, you noticed I said I had 167 items. So on average, only one card is coming through at a time on these orders. It's probably just the nature of direct, considering they're pooling from anybody's inventory that is in the direct program. So odds are, if someone's building a deck of 100 cards and you just have one of them, you get pooled into that, as well as maybe 99 totally separate sellers. Or maybe there's a massive seller that has 100, 200,000 inventory items, and they are able to fulfill the whole entire order on direct themselves. But that's not my case. I do have a pretty wide inventory base. I think I have about 4,000 unique items, about 10,000 individual items. But now that the holidays are over, we are going to be pumping those numbers up really aggressively. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's get back to the numbers here. So we're looking at each individual card value. So I won't go totally line by line, but if you've seen any of my videos, this should look familiar to you. I have broken this down in the past when I've talked about analyzing my costs of goods sold. So we're still going to roll with the same cost of goods sold number here at 25 cents per card, regardless of card value, and go with that for now, because that's just going to make this example a lot easier. And I have actually upped my floor price to 25 cents now that I'm in direct, because I saw how quickly things were selling at that floor price. So quick note there. But what we'll do is let's take a look at the absolute base price, 25 cents to start. So you get a 25-cent card order as a level 4 marketplace seller, no direct. You sell the card plus your shipping for $1.52. These are the calculated fees coming off of it through TCGPlayer. your vendor fees of 10.25%, as well as your processing fees. You can see the formulas up here. Cost of goods sold, again, same throughout everything. And as I've discussed, if you haven't watched my video on shipping cards, I have my cost about 95 cents per package. So this can be broken down across more cards, which helps your margin. But just for the sake of this video, we're talking about single card orders. So as you can see, selling one cheap card, given the way I input my cost of goods sold, applying the same cost to every single card, you come out at a loss. You're going to have losers, and the whole idea is, as I've mentioned in my videos, I won't harp on this, but wide inventory base so you can generate a lot of sales. And when you're a marketplace seller, hopefully get higher card orders where you mix in cheaper and higher value cards, bring those shipping costs down, and bump the profit numbers up. The amount I've lost on actually has been very few. It's just the small orders with very cheap cards that you tend to lose on. So anyway, marketplace, we come out to negative 17 cents. About 32.5% goes to fees. So I'm going to bring us right down. So there's a lot of different values here. You can insinuate how this all works, right? At a 50 cent, $1, $3, $5 card, what you're looking at in terms of fees as a percentage of the overall sale. It drops the higher you go in card value, mainly because like your shipping related to your overall price is lower too, and if your profit, so anyway, doesn't matter. You get higher profit in this model because you're assigning the same costs to them as well. So let's go down to direct, because the direct fees are where it gets interesting, right? So let me go over to their website here. Fee structure for small orders. So I won't read it all word for word, but orders under $3, they removed processing fees. You will pay 50% of the card's value to TCGPlayer for any order under $3. So here's their example. On a $1.20 order, you get 60 cents, $1.98, 99 cents. So it's the same thing I did over on my sheet. When you look at 50% or 50 cent cards, 50%, you get 25 cents out of that. So you can see at a low price card, again, any card below 25 cents or below is listed at 25 cents. And I have been selling quite a few of them. So those ones, yes, they come out at losses. But obviously the higher price cards are big winners. So it offsets. The 50% under $3 is high, but the fact is you lose the same amount of money whether you're packing it and putting in more time to ship that one card out than if you're just pulling 1, 2, 3, throw them into your direct order to send to TCGPlayer, and that is all you do paired with 150 other cards. So first impressions on selling cheap cards, direct makes it a lot easier to move that inventory. And again, we'll take a look here how this changes when you go up in card value, as well as implementing the direct markup. So I forgot to mention that. You can see I wrote direct same as market, meaning same as market price. Now, I mentioned the average direct markup is 25.7%. And this changes the numbers quite a bit and actually makes it more comparable to marketplace as a whole. So if we take a 50-cent card sold as a level 4 seller, you packed it up, you shipped it out, you made 4 cents on that single 50-cent card. You go down with your direct markup. I added one extra column here because this is technically the 25% over 25 cents. So this would be the column we'd be looking at. You'd come out with 3-cent profit. So you're already seeing that even though you're giving out 50% in fees, because of the markup on the cards, you're coming out to be right around the same numbers. And as we go up in higher in value, you notice that it's the same, and in certain situations, even better, which is really interesting. So clearly not all of these will be perfect because a 25% markup on a $20 card might not be feasible. Sometimes you'll have to adjust, but all that being said, that's how I'm listing my cards right now. And with an additional 5% over the direct markup. So I'm marked up almost 30% over market price, and I'm already nearing my second RI because I need to pass that $300 mark. So clearly people are still buying cards, but I will say the pricing strategy, you really got to be paying attention. And I'll explain one example as to why you need to pay attention to every card price. But if you can create formulas within your pricing sheets to help do this for you automatically every time you download it and adjust, it will make your life so much easier. I won't go over that in this video specifically. Again, there's going to be a lot of videos on direct moving forward, so I'll probably cover that in a future one. So when we go up to higher price cards, I'll just jump to 3 because $3 is where they pull 50% on. So on a $3 card, you're paying about 20% in fees. If you're selling it individually to someone, packing it, sending it yourself, you made $2.23. Great. So if you're getting it the direct the same as the market price, yeah, you're getting about half. But with the markup, you're looking a little bit closer, $1.55. So it's still less, but you have to think like that 70-cent spread. How much time does it take to print the labels and pack them into the envelopes and ship them out? I'm not saying it's a bad move because I vouch for it. I think that the margins are really solid, and clearly from my past video explaining how I did in 2024 in those months I was operating, the numbers make sense. But the question is, can you scale this up at an even higher volume, taking thinner margins, but moving way more product? So that's what we're moving towards. And with my current markup, I'm actually looking closer to, $1.72 on something like that. We're still looking at a 50%. Oh, 1 second. Actually, I'm going to jump up because I'll explain that in a second as to why. So you're still looking at pretty close in terms of how much you're going to be making. Now, one additional thing is once you get beyond that $3, this is why I wanted to sort of scroll up. You can see there's a direct fee thrown in here, right? Okay, so it's $1.21, and then a certain percentage of the card value. Now, over $3, there's this complicated, okay, so well here you can just see that direct seller, non-pro. So you're looking at 8.95%. You still have the same processing fee. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is the replacement cost. So $2.99 and less, 50%, $3 and up, you start implementing this $1.21 replacement cost. And it scales up based off of the value of the cards or the number of cards in an order. So you can see a $20 card, one of them is going to be $4.17 as a replacement cost. And anything over $3 is $1.21. So this is where you can see that that's why we're getting less per card and why even the fee structure, the fees are a little bit higher. So higher than 50%. But they drop down pretty dramatically when you're selling higher value cards. So this is where the pricing strategy needs to start getting more dialed in. Because if you have a $3 card, I used 3 just to keep the numbers even, but technically you're going to be paying, let's change this to 3. This is what you'd be actually walking away with at $3.87. Now, if this was $2.99, you would not be paying the direct fee of $1.21. You'd only be paying 50% of the card. So you'd walk away with an extra almost 40 cents, 35 cents, I think that was. I forgot. Was that 87? Let's go back. That was, 87. So 35 cents more because of a 1 penny difference. So again, this is where first impressions of direct, you need to pay a lot more attention. You get a lot higher sales volume and stuff flies off the shelves, but you need to be careful and know what you're doing and how you're pricing your product. So Again, I'm marking it up almost 30% over market price and stuff is selling. But I am also starting to watch out on higher value cards where you can see that I highlighted this $23 card as an example. If we go back and take a look at the fee structure, at $20, you're paying $4.17. At $19.99, you're paying $1.22. So you're actually better off. The reason I put it at 23 is at $23, you pay the same amount, or you make the same amount as at $19.99 with the cheaper fee structure. So in this case, pricing a card at $19.99 is going to make you $15.91. The reason I applied 3 cents here, by the way, is just because I divided the shipping cost I paid by the 167 cards I shipped out. It's always going to probably be pretty low, but that's beside the point. Now let's go back here. $15.91 at 23, you actually make less money. So you're pricing your card higher, you're making less money than you would have if you priced your card even lower. So this is where you need to start being careful. So again, first impressions of Direct is it's great, but you need to know what you're doing because you can easily find spots where you're going to lose money if you're not doing it correctly. So obviously at 23 and above, it becomes a wash, but say this card was $21 and you're paying that $4.17. Okay, you've made $13.85. At $19.99, you made $15.91. So it's a couple dollar difference over a lot of cards. It will add up. So these are things with TCGPlayer Direct that I am not like a huge fan of because like they need to create rules and there needs to be cutoffs, but you really need to pay attention for it to make sense. So that is the analysis on the fees. I think that's where I'll end the fee review because you get an idea of what we're looking at. The higher the value of the card, you're still sending it directly to TCGPlayer. Your fees as a percent drop pretty much, not down to where it would be if you were just sending it out yourself, but you're walking away with pretty comparable amounts of money because a $35 card might be selling for $44 on Direct. And you're actually going to, even though your fees are higher, you'll walk away with more money. Maybe not. Maybe this is selling for, I don't know, 40, but you're still walking away with more. So yes, the fees are higher, but the inflated prices do make a very big difference in this situation. So I can't speak exactly to how this looks regarding my inventory, regarding my initial $520 in sales in that first 24 hours. I'll be able to. I'm sure I'll be able to break it down. I'm going to need to get the data, but it's currently processing the replacement fees. So I think it's going to tell me, but again, bit of a numbers nerd. I'd like to see those numbers. Okay, sorry, it cut out, which means this video is getting too long. But anyway, I'm a numbers nerd. I'd like to see those numbers. We will analyze this more in depth in the future. So let me just take a look at my notebook, see if there was anything else I wanted to cover here. I'd say for now, given the length of this video, I'm going to end it there. Quick review, 1 day, 24 hours, 120 sales, 167 items, $520 total in sales, already getting close to another RI. Got to replace my inventory fast. Again, I was gone for a little bit, but we're hitting it hard for 2025. Really looking forward to see what we can make out of this year. We went over how long it took me, 45 minutes to pack and ship those cards. We discussed the fee structures. We discussed card pricing. And the fact is, once we see those numbers and what I walk away with, the amount of time I actually spent, not including all this analysis, an hour at most to pull and ship and pull, pack, and ship all of those cards. So time savings is substantial. So No idea how this is going to fully break down. No idea if it's going to be worth it long term. Must be. So many people ship with direct. There must be value in it. Why would anyone do it if you made less money? So anyway, that is today's video. That is my 24-hour first impressions of direct. So far, so good. Get ready for it. If you join it, you got to stay on your toes and you got to be around because you got to be ready to ship out product. So we have a lot coming. I've already sort of discussed what we're doing in the new year. For anyone who didn't see my last video, we do have a Patreon now. It's great. The community's been awesome already. We've been talking about what we've been doing in terms of our own sales, just been talking about Magic, the game in and of itself. So that's been a lot of fun. It's been really cool to see people join it. So anyone who did, thank you guys so much. As always, if you want to join, link is in the description below. We're going to have a lot of product going up in the coming weeks. My store is now live again, so if you want to buy from it, feel free to go check it out. And yeah, I guess that's it for now. I appreciate you all for watching. Lots to learn in the new year, and I can't wait. Can't wait to see how it all pans out. It's already been an interesting ride being involved in all this. So let's get it. 2025, going to be a big year for everybody. We will catch you all in the next video. Have a great evening and, well, maybe day, whenever you're watching this. Yeah, have a good one. We'll see you in the next one.